Привет всем! Welcome to this week's video in which we're going to compose the final part, the vignette base for this Typhoon. Vignette as opposed to diorama. Diorama is generally on a larger scale. Diorama should tell a story. Vignette is more like base work and figures, so it's more about maybe, less of a story, but basically it's sort of going to formate on the fact that you're displaying your model with some figures. That's the crux of it anyways. So a couple of things to consider. Basically, we still want some interaction because we've got two figures, and I think that's something that a lot of people ignore, is actually how figures interact. You want, obviously, I explained in the first part, we've got our main central character looking out towards the horizon with binoculars. His role is self-evident. Now this guy, he's a little bit different. He's gazing down. So think about that. What is he gazing down at? Can you use it? Can you have a little play with that and a little element in what you're going to depict in your vignette? The other thing, of course, is sizing as well. So basically, I'm going to keep things really cheap here. No custom bases or anything, like a Ramka frame. What we'll do is we'll put the vehicle into the frame and play with composition. But basically, bear this one in mind. What you want to do is have the vehicle on an angle. So as you can see here, there's not a lot of space to play with, but we need to think about this second figure, how he is going to play into this. I've got some thoughts on that, but we'll do that a little bit later on. Now, the very first thing we have to do is modify the frame, take out the glass, build it up, and then I'll explain base work and the materials. Okay, so we covered quite a bit of ground there on the base work. Basically, I'll just explain a few things. I haven't got the really cool XPS form. Если вы русский и вы смотрели мой видео, пожалуйста, напишите мне, где можно купить XPS form for России. I'll just explain, if there's anybody in Russia who knows where I can get the XPS form for diorama bases in Russia, please write to me. What I used was the foam boards. Foam boards you can get everywhere. I got these ones from Ozon, and I stacked them up obviously to give it some height. And for making roads, I tend to use cork. If you can get thinner than this, it's even better. But I like the actual surface. It tends to give quite a, a fairly realistic road surface. And I'll just explain some concepts here as well. We built up some height on here. Nothing wrong with flat base at all. But when you build stuff up, that means you can also cut down as well and create some topography. So that's how we're able to cut away and give it some fall away to the sides there. So that's all going to fall into this little vignette with not a real story, but just some interaction, like I said, with the figures. And the other thing as well that we did, we used some styrene strip as well to edge out the external facets of the base work. Also remember my good friend Adam Culler, like years ago when I was doing dioramas, he just gave me that piece of advice. Previously I didn't used to finish off the edges. When you add this edging, it doesn't add to the actual vignette, but it does sort of show to the viewer that you've taken some care in it. It does actually, when you see it on the table in competitions or regardless at your club meeting, when you add this edging on it, it just sort of adds that little touch that you've taken some care in the presentation. So what we're going to do now, obviously, is add in the colouring. We need to colour in the road. We need to colour in this area here, which is earth as well, and start adding the vegetation. So what I'll do is I'll do all the painting and start adding vegetation, and I'll explain some of the products that I was using, and we'll have another recap in a minute. Okay, let's just have a quick recap on what you saw. Basically the vegetation going on. I haven't got one of those fancy grass applicators or anything. So what I tend to use was these grass clumps. Now the grass clumps, they come basically described by season. So you get autumn, winter, summer and spring obviously. Now those are different colours. So what I tend to use is a mixture of the different colours, and that way you get a nice bit of variety in the appearance of the grass work. I like that random appearance because obviously it's not a nice kept lawn, it's just the fringes of this road. Now also we added in a little water feature down here, and also just note this here, this as well. Who knows what that is? There's an answer coming up anyways after the next clip, but if you're in Russia you probably will know, or you can probably work it out. So also just explain as well, one thing that with the base work as well is the concept of diagonals, and somebody explained to me this like a long time ago at a competition. Basically you have a viewpoint looking diagonally back and forth. Also you should have height as well, but that's different. We haven't got enough room on here. On a proper diorama base we might. So in this little vignette, what we have obviously is we've got our diagonal there where the vehicle's placed, and then our second one, our secondary, is running this way, and that's why we've got these areas of topography and grass to give it some interest. And that's worked out pretty good. I quite like the looks of that. What we need to do now are a few other things, and I'm going to bring on my consultant to explain that. Yeah, we've got a consultant here, Chip. No catti tavaresci. He's okay. Anyways, got a great idea. What we'll do with that last figure, the figure that's looking down, is add a dog. Yeah, we've got some dog figures, and we think that just might be the excellent sort of interaction at the back. Just that little, it's a nice little element, a little sort of human element that'll really set off this vignette. So what we need to do is select a dog out of this selection and then place them in with the figure. And the other thing that we'll do is we're going to add in a little bit more vegetation. We're going to do a little bit of experiment. We're going to compare photo etch versus some paper, they're like vines and plants. And these will add excellent little detail touches to the diorama. So we'll get all those painted up, and then I'll come back and I think we'll be able to wrap this up. Okay, this is what it is. It's actually a pump. Inside our town here, we've got fresh water pumps. I haven't seen them in Moscow before, but quite unusually. Если вы хотите пить, вы можете, конечно. It's very simple. You just press this down. I'm going to get my feet very wet. And then the water comes out. Of course, you can drink it. It's fresh water. So you can make it go slow. I just get wet. Oh. Okay, yeah, so, yeah, well, that was the whole sort of story at the back of the vehicle, basically having the guy interacting with the dog. The guy's got out the vehicle to fill up water containers while the commander's looking out towards the front. So I'll leave you some finished shots of the vehicle and a video of it as well. I really enjoyed working on this vignette. It's just been such a long time since I've done anything like this, and now I'm in the mood for it. I'm going to sort of commit to bringing more content like this. I think it really shows off the vehicle quite well, not overly complicated, really cheap to do, and I'm thinking in the future as well, how can I make this process simpler? I'm already thinking about 3D printers and many things running through my mind. But anyways, that concludes this whole VDV Typhoon build. Nikto kromienias. So, until next time guys, счастливо и пока!